The Legend of Korra, the sequel series to the groundbreaking Nickelodeon show Avatar: The Last Airbender. When this series debuted in April 2012, I was super excited. It was a return to this incredible world, this time set in Republic City, a 1920s, 30s-esque town reminiscent of New York or Hong Kong or Vancouver. It's a kind of culmination of those cities. The main character was going to be a badass girl, and there was so much that could be done, questions that could be answered. How could I not be excited for this? Now, when I started writing this episode, I had it titled, Why the Legend of Korra Fell Short. And after I started to rewatch the series, I decided that that wasn't a fair way to look at this. I decided it's not fair to the series to look at it from a negative perspective. Well, I'm going to be honest in my opinion, this is going to be more of a look back on what my thoughts on the show was, and what place it holds in my mind. I plan on talking about everything from the series in depth, so if you haven't watched Legend of Korra, this is not a video for you. Please leave. I mean, once you watch Legend of Korra, please come back, but right now, please leave. Now first off, let's take a look at this season by season. At the end of this, we can talk about the series as a whole. So if you're ready, let's get going. And if you're not ready, I'm going anyways, so you can pause the video, I guess. I don't know. We're going.
When Air, the first season of Korra, came out, I enjoyed it. I thought it had some up and down moments, but overall I thought it was alright. Amon was an interesting villain, and there was enough tension in the story for the most part to encourage me to watch episode to episode. Republic City held up to my high expectations, and I loved how they developed on the steampunk themes you saw in The Last Airbender. But other aspects of the story seemed either weak or forced. The Mako-Korra-Asami love triangle relationship being the biggest example of this. It felt like they threw in a love interest because they knew they had to, not because it was something warranted in the story. There were also some really dumb moments, like Mako working at a power supply station where they used the sacred, highly skilled art of lightning bending and use it as a power supply. I mean, cool. I guess it went from something only the elite of elite firebenders could perform to a blue-collar job. Whatever. How would that even be efficient anyways? The pro bending tournament was a neat idea, but I found the time spent on it to be a waste. I think it was a cool thing to introduce, but they spent too much time on it when all I really wanted was to go back to the plot. Actually, I would say that's the biggest weakness of Season 1. Wasted time. If it wasn't Bolin or the Airbender kids getting into mischief, it was the pro bending tournament or some other waste of time. The plot meandered a lot. It made the season feel a little choppy, but overall I came out on the other side hopeful it would get better. And then Season 2 happened. Spirits, the second season, is the worst season of any Avatar series. It takes all of the things I loved about Avatar. Deep, relatable characters, interesting twists and turns, complex characters, and an amazing balance between lighthearted fun and very serious circumstances, and it tosses it all out the window. This season feels like a normal kid's show. God, it's so obvious from episode 1 what was going to happen. There was no tension, and the entire season just did not feel like Avatar. I mean, I had problems with season 1, sure, but at least it still felt like Avatar. Season 2 was bland and uninteresting besides 2 episodes, which, if you've seen Season 2, you know it's the Avatar 1 episodes. Honestly, I'm not really a fan of knowing all the answers of a series. I kind of like the mystery of not knowing. But I love the art style in these episodes, and I really like the story overall. It didn't feel like it was just an exposition dump to justify the villain, although it kind of was, but whatever, it felt really fun. I will say that adding Varrick was probably the best part about Season 2. In a series full of comic relief characters, Varrick is always my favorite. He has this Cave Johnson, cartoonish Howard Hughes thing going on, and it's just great. He's flamboyant, rude, and full of himself, but his quick talking style and attitude make him really fun to watch and listen to, on top of having some really funny moments. It's my kind of humor, it's what I really like, and they added a character who is exactly what I want. I mean, Varrick, I love you. But he wasn't enough to save this season.
I know I wasn't the only one to be disappointed because after Season 2, Nickelodeon moved the show online and just fucked so many things up. They were hazy on when Season 3 was going to premiere. They didn't really promote it right, or really at all. And I think the channel just kind of lost faith in the show and didn't want to give it a time slot anymore. But since they'd ordered 4 seasons total and only 2 had come out, they had to come out somewhere, so might as well put them out online, right? Honestly, after Season 2 ended, I wasn't paying much attention to Korra. I had just moved and was getting my life back on track when Season 3 had premiered. But I didn't really hear about it till 4 episodes in when I saw this big story that it was being moved online. I shaked off my worries and doubts from Season 2 and decided to trudge on, and what I got was fucking amazing. First off, I get this villain Zahir, voiced by Black Flag frontman Henry Rollins. Henry Rollins. I love Black Flag, and I love Henry Rollins in particular. So to see this guy be a villain in a children's TV show, not just a villain, mind you. He's not just a villain. He is an anarchist. A badass anarchist who just happens to gain the power of airbending. That's right. he is an airbender. But wait, there is more. He has a group of badass anarchists who all have crazy powers, who all are very unique and interesting, and they as a group are hunting to take down Korra. They have strong morals, and they're the most interesting cast of villains I've seen in Avatar. They're some of the most interesting cast of villains I've seen in a children's TV show or any TV show, really. They're just fucking amazing. I love them. I love each and every one of them. I love each and every one of them.
This season was far more bold. It pushed the boundaries of a kid's show, and it brought in the most complex and interesting villains in the Avatar mythos. It brought in and expanded the world of bending by adding in lava bending, bringing back combustion bending, and they got themselves out of that airbending repopulation hole they'd written themselves into. They established a lot of real stakes in this season. When they killed the Earth Queen, it was kind of like a taking the kitty gloves off moment for the series. Most of the times when people die in Avatar, it's either implied or suicide or it's an accident. But Zahir suffocating the Earth Queen was shown. And even if no one uses the term dead, killed, murdered, or anything, they make it incredibly clear you just watched her die. Then a few episodes later, Pai Li blows her fucking head up. Sure, they don't show you the gory details, because of course they wouldn't, but they make it incredibly clear that she just got killed. I can already hear people trying to disprove that claim with cries of Jet, Roku, Amon, and Tarlok, or Combustion Man. But to me, the other deaths in this series are either a heroic sacrifice, purposely vague or implied, or, okay, the Tarlok Amon one I understand, but it was at the very end of the season, so it didn't really set a tone. It was more of just an easy way to end the story. This season blew my mind, and it changed my view on Korra, which to that point had only disappointed me. Season 3 showed a lot of development for this series, changing what had been at that point a really safe series to a show that was willing to take risks and push its boundaries a bit. So when it was over, I couldn't wait to see if they could keep this going and push this even further, and my expectations were definitely met. Balance, the 4th season came out only about 2 months after season 3 concluded. It was a quick turnaround. You can see its effects in the show. Background characters are just still images for the most part, which is incredibly distracting when you notice it, and one of the episodes was turned into a clip show because of a decreased budget. Even though the ending part of that with Varric, that's fucking perfect. As I said, Varric is the best part they added to the series from season 2. He's hilarious. I love everything with him. He's great. Now, even with all these setbacks, season 4 still manages to be fantastic. There were so many neat aspects of this season, like turning a former ally of Korra's into a villain. They did a great job making Kuvira a character you can understand. She took on a job that no one else would tackle in saving the Earth Kingdom, and her decision to not allow Wu, an obviously incompetent fool, to rule a kingdom that she had just reunited was reasonable. Power corrupting a noble person is a story as old as time, but it's pulled off really well here. The portrayal of Korra as a broken warrior was very mature. It took off right where season 3 left off Korra and showed amazing character development for her. Many other shows or movies for children or adults would have the hero shrug off a near-death experience in an episode or two without much thought. But season 3 established that Korra was experiencing baggage from each person she had faced in the past, and that her fight with Zahir, where she could not defeat him, was a breaking point for her mentally. This was demonstrated and executed incredibly well in season 4, and it was really great character development to see the toll the role of Avatar has taken on her.
The Legend of Korra is not a perfect series. There's far too many winks and nods back to the old Avatar: The Last Airbender series that just felt either forced or completely unnecessary. They relied far too much on comic relief characters. I mean, they're just sprawling everywhere. There's comic relief characters coming out of everywhere. And almost all of them got old really fast for me. I think Varric and Bolin worked pretty well, but I always liked when characters in Avatar who were just serious characters had funny moments. That's a little funnier than having a character whose entire role is to just be a joke. I'm looking at you, Prince Wu. And when these comic relief characters share an important role in the story, it's just a slog to get through because you have to deal with their corny jokes all the time, and it's not funny. It was flawed, but the maturity and development in Season 3 and Season 4 make it hard for me to say that I was disappointed with this series. It's not easy to top a show like Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I don't think Korra did that, but they tried really hard, and Season 3 and Season 4, that really comes through. My feelings on this series can go back and forth from time to time, but the one thing that always remains is I'm glad I watched it. There's so many great aspects of this show that it's definitely worth your time. Especially if you are a fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender. I think in giving this series a rewatch and watching it all as one, it added to my appreciation of the show. When I gave it an honest chance, I found that I really do enjoy Legend of Korra. Parts of it are less than good, but there are some parts of this show that are great. And what do you think about Korra? Do you think the good outweighs the bad, or do you think it was all bad, or think none of it was bad? It was all great! Whatever you think, I want you to leave a comment down below. I will probably respond to you. Probably. I can't guarantee that stuff, but you know. I respond to most comments. I like having discussions about these kind of topics. That's why I make videos like this. That's why I'm passionate. So, Leave a comment if you have an opinion. If not, don't leave a comment. I don't care. It's your life. I am not telling you how to live your life. But thank you so much for watching and watching me ramble a little bit here. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Have a nice day.
We've been doing this for so long, and yet it's come to this. We feel you've been treating us wrong.